everyone. Welcome to Those Forking Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy, book, TV, movie, pop culture, fandoms, and how they integrate into our adult lives. This is episode 8. I'm Natasha.
And I'm Christine. Hello.
Today we are talking about our favorite TV shows of 2022. I can't believe this year's over.
It's not over yet. Excuse me. We have
like a few weeks
more days. 15
there,
more
and there
days.
are still new TV shows coming out at the end of this year.
When this comes out, we have less than 15 days. So
true.
Outdated. We're recording on the 16th.
early.
We're recording early for the holidays. But the year is up almost. So we're going to be talking all of our favorite shows of 2022, and we'll also briefly discuss seasons of things that kind of disappointed us this year, but we're focusing on the positive top 10 TV shows of 2022.
I'm so excited to talk about this because I feel like the TV shows this year took over my life.
They were so good.
They became my personalities, and I think I enjoyed more TV than I did movies this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, TV, I think, has really shot up in quality, and it's also shot up in abundance because there's so many streamers. So there's so much to enjoy, whereas I feel like a lot of movies have dipped in quality because they're not going to the theaters.
Yeah.
So it's sad, but very exciting for TV lovers. And we love TV. Should we get started, though?
TV and just yeah. I mean, long form content is so great, but let's get into our Snap, Crackle, Pop culture news.
Woo!
Yay! So Christine put down a bunch of news, but there's one particular news that I feel like everyone wants me to talk about. By the way, I'm getting over a cold, so my voice it sounds different. Henry Cavill gets fired from DC. Oh, I backed away.
What do you mean Henry Cavill got
is not
going
to be Superman?
I thought we already knew that.
No. 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, I don't remember that one. He announced when Black Adam came out that he was back as Superman.
Yeah.
DC had told him
to remember.
Okay, well, I will care enough for everyone. DC told him to announce this on his Instagram because he was in the last credit scene of Black Adam. And then that same week, they announced that James Gunn will be taking over the DCEU. Okay, so here comes James Gunn and his other partner. I don't know his name.
And
they are just he's taking an axe hammer to all of the DCEU.
An axe or a hammer?
No.
You just got an axe hammer, both together.
No, like Thor's axe hammer.
Okay.
His little axe hammer.
It's not called an axe hammer, right? I'm getting stuck on the technicalities. It has a name.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Long something? Long arm?
Short,
I don't know.
I didn't get much sleep last night.
Let me finish.
Sorry, you keep talking.
She's interrupting me. Okay, so.
My bad.
All right. So, Henry Cavill announces, on the 14th, I think, of December, that he will no longer be playing Superman. Okay, so he put out a whole statement and he literally said this is sad news. They had told me to announce at my return, and I just had a meeting with James Gunn, and unfortunately I will not be coming back as Superman. And this is just coming after his announcement that he's not returning as the Witcher.
Oh no.
I know. We don't know if that's for sure. I think there was a lot more to his decision about not returning as the Witcher than it was just being back as Superman.
Oh yeah, no.
Because you can do multiple projects at once.
Right? That he didn't like the job they were doing at the Witcher.
Yes. Okay. And so I understand what's happening with James Gunn and like why. Basically, they just need to start fresh. And unfortunately, Henry Cavill was a casualty of that. Are you okay? What's happening?
I really wanted to sing "No One Mourns the Witcher."
Oh boy.
I handed in my novel last night at 5 a.m. I'm really excited to be here podcasting today. I got 3 hours of sleep. I went to bed at 6 and I woke up at 9. And now
why didn't you sleep till noon?
I couldn't sleep past 9. My brain wakes up. The sun's up and I'm up. And
see, but I've done that before. I don't know.
You can
I
sleep in
noon.
because you haven't. I'm trained for the dog, so I've trained to get up for him.
Oh, that's true.
And he's not even here. I've had him with a babysitter so that I can work 24/7 and just be a complete troll in my dungeon. Anyway, so back to Henry Cavill.
Anyways.
Are you very sad? Are you very, very sad? Are you very, very, very sad?
I don't know. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm working with a child today. I am sad. Oh my gosh. I don't know even how to get through this. I'm sad, but I understand. And also, I don't know this other news, but no, they literally they Wonder Woman 3 is not happening. Like all of this stuff is not happening. I'm sad because I love these actors who portray these characters, but I hate the films that they're in. And there needs to be something that has to change for them to start new. And I totally understand. It just sucks.
Yeah, he's gonna fix it. I have faith. And I understand the clean slateness of it all, but it sucks. Mm-hmm. Sorry, you feel. Yeah, you talk.
I just feel bad for Henry, and I just love him as Superman, so I don't know. But they said that they might involve him in something else later on. I don't know.
Superman's dad?
As Henry, I would be like, I'm done. Let's move on. But he did this morning announce that he is, he's producing Warhammer 40,000, which is a game that he loves to play.
Oh,
and
what's that?
like a new like franchise game type of situation. So like another Witcher, but different.
I just got on board with the
so
Witcher.
he's got stuff.
Yeah,
he's a white man. He's handsome. I'm not that sad.
No,
he'll
be fine.
Yeah,
he'll fall on his feet.
He'll be fine.
But moving on to the next news. All right, moving on to the next news. We've got some belated things that I didn't get to talk about when they happened because we weren't recording. Firstly, Taylor Swift didn't exclusively herself announce this, but it was announced on the different news sites and Taylor Nation that she is writing and directing a film, which is very exciting. And I feel like we've been being prepped for this by how much stuff she's been doing for her short film. And she just did a Variety Directors on Directors with the man, I'm blanking on his name right now, who directed 3 Billboards, and he has a new film out called The Banshee. And they're very sad films. You saw it?
They are. Yeah, yes. We watched it. It's on HBO Max.
It is? Oh. Uh-huh. The only reason I really, really want to watch it is because Taylor Swift was talking about how much she loved it. Taylor watched it, so I might have to watch it. But I watched 3 Billboards. I'll watch it. If it's nominated for an Academy Award, I watch the film. And 3 Billboards was gruelingly upsetting the whole time. So I wouldn't usually jump to his next film because I would think it was going to have a similar tone. But, well, I'm going to watch it probably. And then, moving on from that, are you excited about that? I'm excited about that. I'm
very excited.
I have all the faith in T Swift.
I think I like her music videos that she directs. I'm excited to see what she writes. That's what I'm most excited about, is what she writes, not necessarily what she directs, though.
I want her to direct an adaptation of my book. Then we can put lots of her music in it.
That would be amazing.
That would be ideal. Taylor, if you're listening, or if anyone's listening and knows Taylor, slip her again, but better, please. And next Next on the docket, I needed to talk about this when I saw this article because we talked about Jenna Ortega and her Wednesday dance because it was going viral. And Lady Gaga's song Bloody Mary has come back into the zeitgeist because of the dance going viral on TikTok to the Bloody Mary song. Do you know the song Bloody Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that song. 2011, one of my every song on Born This Way was a jam for me. So that coming back around was exciting. And anyway, it's irrelevant to what I was going to say. Okay, Jenna talked about how she had COVID while they recorded that day. And they were waiting for a positive test to come back before they took her off set. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, really? She was actually legitimately already sick. And you're having her perform with people.
I mean, that is terrible on their end that they made her do that. And I think, honestly, like a PR nightmare because,
yes,
I mean,
I know.
It should not have happened. But, like, they had to be like, we were waiting for a positive test. I'm like, the test takes 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, the antigen test, I knew exactly when I had COVID. It took me 30 minutes to find out.
Yeah, same. It takes very quickly. And also, she felt sick. She already knew she was sick. So, and she was put on set to do a dance scene with tons of other people. And it was COVID. And that just, I can't imagine what the people who were working and the director had to go through after she talked about that publicly. Big no. I wonder if she got in trouble for talking about it or if she talked about it on purpose.
I mean, she shouldn't have gotten in trouble. They shouldn't.
Yeah,
those protocols should have been in place. It was their fault.
They should. Yeah, oh, of course it was. But I just, I wonder if anyone was like, why would you say that? You're going to get us all in trouble. And she had to deal with that nonsense. And last thing I wanted to quickly talk about, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six. The Amazon Prime series got a release date a couple weeks back when we weren't recording. Right after we recorded episode 7, this popped up on Twitter, and I was so sad we missed it. But if you haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, it's a fantastic book, a fantastic audiobook, and Sam Claflin plays one of the leads, and the show is premiering March 23rd, 2023. That's soon. It's coming soon. And there was a whole spread in Vanity Fair. Did you see it? It's the new Vanity Fair spread that everyone's talking about. Yes. It's like the Twilight spread.
I didn't pick it apart, but I'm going to go back and look at all of the photos.
I didn't pick it apart, but I looked at the pictures admiring them for a bit. I didn't think like this is this character. I was like, wow, they look so great and the costumes look great and I'm excited. And that's
exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up our news. There was a lot of exciting things.
A lot of
not
random
so exciting
things.
But before we dive into what right now, we wanted to take a second to give a special thanks to our patrons, our new patrons this week, and that would be Jessica D, Amanda H, and Grace B. Your support just means the world to us. If you're interested in becoming a patron, there's lots of fun perks like watching us live and our Fangirl XL longer version with Fangirl Tea Time, which happens right after the episode. And anyways, it's just where you can come support us that way.
And support us and get really fun extra content. Fangirl Tea Time is so much fun. Not to toot our own Fangirl Tea Time horn, but I love Fangirl Tea Time. And
I do too. And I think it's like a nice juxtaposition from a lot of pop culture talk to actually do get down in the nitty gritty and talk about things
personal things
in our lives.
Yes. Nicole just said it's totally worth it to be a patron. Thank you so much, Nicole, for that glowing review to share right now. So So there's a link in our show notes if you're interested in checking out what you get as a perk for being a patron and supporting us that way. We appreciate you so much. But you don't have to be a patron to support the show. If you enjoy the show, thank you so much. And we'd really appreciate you rating us on the podcast app that you use to listen and following us for free on that podcast app so you don't miss an episode. That's super helpful. And interacting with us in any way is helpful. Telling a friend about the podcast is great. Word of mouth is such a huge factor in spreading a podcast around. So telling a friend you think would like it is so helpful. And just hitting the like button if you're watching the visual version of this on youtube.com/those4kingfangirls/@those4kingfangirls. Very helpful. Leave us a comment there. We love your feedback. We love interacting and talking to you. So thank you so much for any and all support. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
All right.
We love it. All right. Is it time for what right now?
It's time for What Night Now.
What night now?
What right now? Natasha, what are you reading right now?
I've been reading the first time in like a few weeks.
Good for you, Natasha. For you, Natasha. Sorry.
Thank you.
Stop.
I was at Barnes and Noble and I saw A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and it's the second book to A Shadow in the Ember. Now, I really truly despise all of these
titles,
book titles, because I can't remember.
They're an ember in the ashes. That's literally the ember in the ashes mixed up. The letters.
Yeah, and then A Light in the Flame. Like, what are these basic titles?
The Light in the Flame. I don't know if you've seen Tiernan. He's the booktuber on YouTube.
Yes.
He has the YA
remember.
wheel of titles, and the sketch is so funny because when someone sells their book to the publisher, he's like, okay, let's find a title, and they spin a wheel with all different buzzwords from YA books and make a title from like 3 different ones, and they're all like YA titles. It's hysterical.
So these books are the prequel series to Blood and Ash. You know what? I don't even know if I got that one right.
It is, right?
But it's
I think that's it.
Yes. Blood and I think so. Anyways, my favorite book series I read so far this year. A lot of people hate on it. I don't care. It is truly one of my most favorite reading experiences that I've had since I think reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. And it has the same vibes, the same fantasy type paranormal world with some sexy times. And this is the prequel series, and I think I like it better than the original series. And so I started A Light in the Flame, and I was like, I don't remember anything that happened. I read it back in January. So I was like, I guess I have to reread book 1, which I don't mind because book 1 was fabulous. It has all of my favorite tropes in it. So I've just been rereading that one so I can read A Light in the Flame.
Very nice. I'm glad you're having fun reading, and I'm glad it's better than the original series. That's amazing when that happens. Me this week, I've been reading my own third book, 528 Microsoft Word pages, double-spaced. And my second draft was due this week, so I went through the book, and then I had one day to try to read the whole thing and go through the whole thing again because I finished it the day before I had to give it in. And it's been a wild time. I love my third book so much. I was so giddy after I finished it. I got in my car and I was blasting Midnights and Scream singing on my way to get my matcha, and my eyeballs were just popping out of my head. I haven't slept in 48 hours. I said I got 3 hours of sleep, but I hadn't slept the night before, so it's been a long time without sleep. And I was just in the car like an insane person. So I've had a lot of fun. I was wondering if I could send it to you because I'd love your feedback before my next draft.
Oh my, yes.
Is that okay?
I want to read it yes.
Okay, cool.
I want to read it so bad.
I'm so excited to get your thoughts.
just a little like perspective. I literally talk to Christine once or twice a day. I haven't spoken to her in like maybe a week.
It's been so long.
It's been so long.
We can't go 7 days.
It's really hard.
Last night we were like voice messaging over text, and I was like, I miss you. It's been so long.
We had to also cancel our friend miss because I'm still under the weather.
And I'm so sleep deprived that I'm afraid I'll catch everything. So
it's best if we come back after Christmas and get together.
We're gonna have a holiday miss post 2023 New Year. It's gonna be great, and we're gonna make cookies and have a great time. And I'm excited. Mm-hmm. But back on track. What did you watch this week?
Okay, I told Christine we can only talk about one thing, and she puts down a million things because we have a lot to go over.
Okay, I'm skipping TV shows entirely. So, do you want to skip in TV shows entirely?
No, I want to talk about this one thing.
Fine, go talk. What did you watch?
Okay, Harry and the Harry and Meghan Netflix special.
Okay. Was it good?
It's like it's a tell-all. It's kind of like a documentary. Yes, it's good. I really enjoyed it.
I've heard mixed reviews.
Oh, I really like it. I mean, I love anything that's like royal, and they're so in love with each other, and it just is so cute to watch. And I haven't watched the second part though, because I'm gonna watch that probably tomorrow.
I'm gonna watch it if you liked it.
I love it.
Good.
I think you like it. All right, movies. Go, Christine.
Movies. Okay, so when I was doing my book, I needed something to watch in my breaks, and I just had this craving to watch Titanic, because if you haven't been around for a while, it's my favorite movie, and it's just been too long, and I turned it on, and I you know, when it's not on any of the streamers, so I was like, ugh, fine, maybe I won't watch it. But then I was like, no, it's time, just buy it. So I bought it on Amazon Prime, and immediately, no regrets. I was just like the most giddy, happy, smiley, like the joy I get from watching Titanic never ends. Mm-hmm. So I had such a great time, and of course I was on the edge of my seat every time I watch Titanic. I hope that they're not going to hit the iceberg, and I know that's like the definition of insanity. I'm like, when they see it, I'm like, come on, turn. And there's this part of me that's like, maybe this time they won't hit it.
Oh, I feel like we all do the same thing when we're watching stories. If it's good storytelling, we don't want the bad things to happen, but
yeah, that's the thing, though. That's that's why he made the movie. But Leo,
you just need to read wait, Christine, you just need to read like a Titanic fan fiction where they don't hit the iceberg.
Wait,
yeah,
dude,
that's
my door into fan fiction.
Exactly.
I would actually read it. Oh my god. But it has to be finished so it doesn't ruin fan fiction again for me. My roommate, freshman year, ruined fan fiction by giving me her quote favorite that didn't have an end. And they never got to them kissing. So it was just like so unfulfilling after shipping Sirius Black and this other girl so hard. And then they never got together. This is irrelevant, but I don't know what to say. Titanic. Leo and Kate are magic, and I love them so much in Titanic. Moving on. My other thing that I watched that I wanted to talk about was I watched Hassan Minaj's new comedy special, The King's Jester, and it was so fucking good. I had just listened to him on Armchair Expert recently, and I felt like I got to know him a little bit. And so when I saw it pop up on Netflix, I was like, oh, I want to watch this. And I started it, and I was just cackling. He's so funny and is just so good at bringing in those deep moments and then breaking the tension and making you laugh. Those are my favorite comedians that, like, you go really deep all of a sudden, and then like they break that wall and you start laughing, but it meant something, you know? You like felt something and thought about things, and it's great. And yeah, A plus. Highly recommend The King's Jester. It's on Netflix. What about you?
I want to watch that. Okay, I forgot to talk about this a while ago. I watched Lizzo's documentary, and it is so good. It's so good. I also watched Selena Gomez's documentary. I don't want to like compare the two, but I definitely felt more watching Lizzo's just because I think I have more in common with her. And I just love Lizzo. She's like just quickly become one of my like all-time favorite just performers. Like her concert was magical, and just watching and knowing her story was incredible. Both her and Selena have gone through incredibly terrible times in their lives, and just to see them like rise up and become these women is so just inspiring. Okay, and then I watched Something from Tiffany's. I feel like that's the title. It's the new Hello Sunshine rom-com with Zoe Deutsch, and it was so cute. It reminded me so much of the movie Serendipity. I didn't know it was with
Zoe Deutsch. Ugh, I would have watched it immediately. It went up to my list, but I didn't know Zoe Deutsch was in it. I would have put it right on. Yes,
she's an instant green light for me. I always watch everything she does. But it felt like one of those like good like classic Christmas movies where it had that beautiful like jazzy Frank Sinatra music, like the twinkling lights in New York City. Like it really just romanticized New York, and I love when movies do that. And it was very, like I said, it was very similar to Serendipity, but not as annoying as Serendipity. I love that idea. Grounded.
Because Serendipity had a great concept, but it was annoying because it never really got far enough into the story before it ended for me. So, yep, that's great to hear. All right, should we move on? Today we're talking about our top 10 TV shows of 2022. I think we're going to make our way up from the bottom because that's how we like to do top 10 lists. You don't want to start with the top and go down. Did you go in order?
Absolutely not.
You made an order, right? Yours are in order?
Oh, mine's in order. I've changed it since you probably last looked at this.
All right. Well, I think
difficult.
It was so hard. There was a lot of good TV shows this year.
A lot.
I stared at it and I was like, wait a minute, no this one, no this one, no this one. I could not decide on the number one, and then I finally landed on one. But we have some honorable mentions that I think we'll kind of just run through and mention them because we have 10 things to go through on each of our lists, so we don't want to spend too much time. But what are your honorable mentions for 2022?
Okay, so this was hard. I ended up putting White Lotus on my honorable mention.
What? It went down to honorable mention?
It did. Well, I don't think I loved it as much as you, and that's okay. There was something else that was more grounded in the real world, because a lot of my stuff is mostly like fantasy on my list. So I'm like, I'm just going to put, I didn't love it as much, especially watching like the first season and then into the second season. It was good. Do you want to say one of yours?
Just go through honorables. We'll wait to go back and forth for the list.
Got it. Okay. Interview with a Vampire was really good. I haven't finished the last episode yet, but it wasn't as good as the other stuff on my list, so I didn't make it on there. Okay. But if you're looking for like a vampire show, it's a good one.
Yeah, we want to do this because it's helpful to know the top 10 TV shows, because if you need a binge, especially at the end of the year, it's nice to know what to binge. I love these lists because you want a break and you don't know what to turn on. You don't know what's like worthy of your time. So that's okay. Go ahead, keep going. What's Vampire Academy?
Vampire Academy. This was I was thinking if I should put this in my disappointed, but I enjoyed it way too much to be like I'm not. It's the enjoyment outweighs the disappointment, and I still love seeing these characters on screen. Kenobi came out this year, and I've been highly anticipating this forever, and I was like really trying to figure out where I want to put it on my list, but it just didn't hit as hard as I wished it would. It's still like Very nostalgic. Not on my list though. Amazing though. I cried a lot. Wednesday, another honorable mention. A really fun show. Everyone's obsessed with it right now. Andor, talked about this a lot on the show. Probably one of the best like grounded Star Wars stories out there. Really hard not to put it on my top 10 as well. She-Hulk. I wish this was on my top 10, but the pacing of it took it out of the top 10 because it should have been better with how it was way too fast.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Sorry.
Those are honorable mentions.
All right. Well, I have a few honorable mentions too, real quick before we get into the list. Bridgerton season 2 almost made it onto my list. It just got knocked off. So that was unfortunate, but it was very good. And Survivor, which always makes it onto my list. Honestly, if this was a video, I'd be like top 11 because I gotta get Survivor in there. Survivor season 42 was really a joy to watch. Season 43, which just aired, not the best. We need to get back to themed Survivor seasons. They've been doing this thing where they just do Survivor 41 instead of like Survivor Millennials versus Gen X, which is so much fun when they do the themes like Survivor, Brains, Brawn, and Beauty. That's so fun. And they stopped doing that. They're like, we're getting back to basics. We're just doing a number. 3 numbered seasons. I'm done with numbers. We need a theme. It's so much more fun. Get back to it, Survivor. And the cast this season just didn't hold it. So if you have a great cast, you can just have the number. But if the cast is kind of iffy, it's like we need the theme to keep it spunky, okay? Next on my honorable mentions, I have The Resort, which is a new show on Peacock, which was so good too. It really,
yeah. I never finished it.
Me. You didn't finish it? You had like one episode
forgot.
left.
I know.
Gotta watch the final
it's
episode.
on Peacock.
Yeah, it's on Peacock, and that was great. The Ultimatum. I've become a sucker for these Netflix dating shows because when I'm anxious, they are the perfect watch. They turn
really
off
are.
my brain in the best way. The Ultimatum started this year, and it's like they take these couples who have been together for a long time, and they're like, you either have to, well, they're giving their partner an ultimatum on the show, and then with like 5 other couples, and they have to reshuffle and live with one of the other couple's persons that got an ultimatum for like a month, and then decide if they want to actually propose to their person or if they want to get together with the other person or if they want to break up. It's just insanity in the best, most fun way to watch. It's a hot mess, but I loved it. And of course, Love is Blind. Abbott Elementary, really wholesome show on Hulu. It's not on Hulu, it's on ABC, but it's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, you can watch it there. And yeah, and then Dancing with the Stars, always a solid anti-anxiety watch for me. And Amazing Race season 31 was really good, and my team won. That never happens for me on The Amazing Race. Like, you know, the team you're backing, it's so upset when they get off and you're just kind of half-heartedly watching, especially on The Amazing Race. And I've never had my team actually get first place, and I was just crying. I was like, they're the strongest team I've ever seen on The Amazing Race. I'm so proud of them. Yeah, that's my honorables. Yeah, so okay, now we're actually at the list. Those are all good watches, but these are tippity-toppity best of the best. Lead us in with your number 10, Natasha.
My number 10 is The English with Emily Blunt and Chaske Spencer. And I just talked about this recently on the podcast. It was just beautiful. The music, the cinematography, it was like grade A TV with an amazing story. It took itself very seriously. There wasn't actually any humor at all. But I really enjoyed this like sweeping epic Western romance. It was just everything. I loved it.
Nice.
You need to watch it.
You just said it had like no humor at all, and it kind of made me be like, oh.
All of Christine's have humor in them. I was looking at both of our lists and I was like, wow, Christine and I watch very different things, And which makes us great because we are opposites, but not like we have some of the same things too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just you can see how much Christine lives for comedy and how much I live for the drama.
Yeah. That's so funny. I had to get the final season of my favorite show for a very long time, This Is Us, on my list. It ended this year. They really stuck the landing, in my opinion. The final season was beautiful, and I'm just so happy with the series overall. I love the cast so much. Milo Ventimiglia and Mandy Moore, and those are the two most famous people, and I never learned everyone else's names, but they're all so good. Why didn't I learn I knew them at one point, but it's been a while. Like, it ended at the beginning of the year. I apologize. Everyone is fantastic in that show, though, and it's so heartwarming, and it makes you laugh, and it makes you cry, and it makes you cry and laugh for happy and sad reasons. It's beautiful. Great writing. So that's my number 10. If you haven't watched This Is Us, it's an amazing, emotional, but also heartwarming binge if you're in the mood for something like, if you watched Parenthood, it's the same people who created This Is Us, and they're really good at the family drama that has also all of the aspects of everything else in it as well. So, beautiful times.
My number 9, so this is what took White Lotus out.
This took White Lotus out? Okay.
Euphoria season 3.
Wasn't it season 2? It was.
It was season 2?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's only been one season? You're right. Sorry, season 2.
Yeah. I don't watch it, but I know a lot about it.
Well, yeah, why don't you watch it again?
Because it makes me get anxious and want to faint. Because there's too much drug use. I can't handle it.
It is a very triggering show all around. Like, if you've dealt with anyone in your life who has addiction, like it is just a plainfully beautiful show. And
I just want to. You said plainfully instead of painfully, and it was funny.
I wanted to say plain because it's just like
I feel like you're saying beautifully and painfully at the same time, and you said plainfully.
Anyways, I think what I loved about the season is that the entire internet erupted, and just so much of this series was viralized, or
so many memes.
So many memes.
Well, Sydney Sweeney acted her ass off, and there's so many amazing. Really did. I watched all those scenes, and I was like, "Damn, that was excellent."
I think I liked it better than season 1. So
I liked the clips better than season 1.
Yes,
I couldn't be happier.
It's a lot, and I don't think a lot of people can handle this show, and but I don't think they can tone it down from here.
Is it I've never been happier? I can't remember the meme.
I've never been happier.
She's like hysterically crying. You've seen the meme of Sydney Sweeney hysterically crying, be like, and I've never been happier.
I also love when, like, her friend goes like, "Why are you dressed up like a country singer?"
She's like,
I think it's in that same scene.
Do you think yeah, it's the same scene. I watched it. Why would you say I'm in the play? Do I look like I'm in the play? She
the whole
totally
play
looks like she's in the play. I've never even watched the show, and I'm just talking about it like I know exactly what was going on. Okay, so that's your number 9 on the list. And my number 9 is a new show called Minx on HBO Max with, oh my god, I'm blanking on everyone's name. Nick from New Girl plays one of the leads. He plays the owner of a pornography publishing magazine company, and he is so great in this. So what it's about, Jake Johnson, thank you, Nicole. I love Jake Johnson. And what it's about is the creation of the first female Playboy magazine. And what you might not realize, because I had no idea, is that this woman who wanted to start a feminist magazine couldn't get anyone to want to publish it. And Jake Johnson's character is like, I know what would make people want to read that magazine: naked dudes. And she's like, this is not a porn magazine. This is a feminist magazine. And then she starts to come around to the idea of like women like will enjoy porn as well and can enjoy porn as well. And like, it's this like feminist angle on it. And it's so fun, their banter, like, because he's this kind of like, you know, you expect him to be this grimy guy, but has a heart of gold. You know, he's the guy who runs this porn industry, but he actually is rooting for her and trying to help her make this magazine work. And it's so good. And I can't wait for season 2. And
is it funny?
It is funny. It is obviously funny. It's obviously funny, or I wouldn't have it on the list. And it's got great writing, and it's also really uplifting and empowering. And I'm so proud of her for publishing this magazine and putting the work in like she does. It's great. So, and it takes place in the 70s, and it's based on the true story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The magazine's called Minx. Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
All right, number 8.
Oh my God, this is all the way down at number 8?
I know. Here's the thing.
What is
Stranger Things, season 4. Okay, I mean...
Cinematic masterpiece.
It was so good. It was really good. I just liked things better that meant more to me than I think Stranger Things. But we all love Stranger Things, okay?
I see.
Yes. But that's why it's number 8. I think I like the 4th of July season the best.
Season 3? Robin?
Season 3. Yeah, with Robin
the
and like
shop.
the Sadie Sink's brother who's in it.
Steve.
And Steve. And
Steve
it's just
is such a gem in the last 3 seasons. He's been excellent. Just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, ever since he became the babysitter. But yeah, I think I enjoyed season 3 better than season 4. But Sadie was just completely mesmerizing in this season, and I'm just distraught.
She was. This season was just objectively, like, from a storytelling perspective, it just had a perfect arc and was perfectly paced, in my opinion, and it was beautifully executed throughout the entire bunch. You know, season 3, I feel like kind of had ups and downs in the story, and there were some wonky moments, but I loved season 3. I enjoyed all these seasons, but season 4 as a whole feels very cohesive and beautiful, and the acting is phenomenal, and there's so many iconic moments that just stick in your head, like visuals. The visuals of Vecna are so potent, and I loved everything about this season. It is way higher on my list, so I'll wait to tell you about it.
Like, take it away.
But okay, my number 8 is Conversations with Friends, starring Taylor Swift's boyfriend Joe Alwyn. Did you watch this?
I have not watched it. You know why? Because Normal People, that was her first one, right?
Yeah, but I got bored of that after one episode and never finished it.
Oh, that show pissed me the fuck off. I hated it.
Okay.
The whole,
this is different.
The whole, like, their communication was terrible. And I hate that. I hate miscommunication tropes. So this is why I didn't initially start Conversation with Friends, but I will now. Tell me about it.
Okay, so Joe Alwyn plays a married guy, and then there's these 2 college-aged women. It takes place in Ireland, and they used to date these 2 women that live together that are in college, and the lead girl is a poet, and she meets this famous writer who comes to like one of her shows. She does poetry slams, kind of. I don't know if you'd call it a slam, but she does poetry readings. and this really famous author is there, and she kind of asks them, her and her friend, if she wants to get dinner or something, and they become friends with this author, and her husband is Joe Alwyn, and they are kind of having their own issues, married, but they're both very nice people, and the young girl who does the poetry really connects with Joe, and they kind of start a relationship, and it's fascinating the different relationships that are in the show and how everything is handled, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't think I should say anything else, but she's a writer, which I always love stories about writers. I always feel like I connect on so many different levels, and this really, I felt very folklore-y while I was watching it. And I know Taylor Swift was on set, and I just kept thinking, like, did this spark this, or was this part of what she was thinking about when she wrote this? Because, you know, she was on set watching the story play out and everything, and it was like I was getting to know one of my best friend's boyfriends. That's what I felt like I was doing, because I feel like this character is very much like, his demeanor is probably like Joe's demeanor. It felt really true to who he is. And I don't know if it is, but it felt like it. You know, that's what I was getting. I was like, wow, am I like getting to know actual Joe? Because it feels very close to what I imagine him as through Taylor's music. So I would highly recommend it, especially if you're a Taylor Swift fan. You're going to enjoy it.
Get to know my best friend's boyfriend.
Great drama, great romance, great problems, and thought-provoking issues that make you sit and ponder on it for a while, and I love that. 7. What's number 7?
All right. Number 7 is Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus. Did you watch this one?
So I watched the first episode, and it was darling. I loved the cinematography. Yes. I loved the lead girl, but I never got into it because I was busy, so I didn't watch the whole thing.
I feel like you haven't watched a lot of the Disney Plus like Marvel shows this year. Did you watch Moon Knight? You didn't watch She-Hulk either.
I watched the first 2 episodes of Moon Knight.
Girl!
I didn't love it, so I didn't.
You're going to be so lost. You got to keep up.
I watched the first 3 episodes of She-Hulk, and I hate her as She-Hulk. I hate the CGI. This is what's hurting me. It's CGI in the TV shows where they're not putting enough money into the CGI. I already don't like the Hulk. I think he's cheesy and annoying. And so when she turns into the Hulk, I love Tatiana Maslany. Like, she's one of my favorite actresses. Orphan Black, amazing show. She, I don't want to say slays because I know that word is going out, but I would like really want to say slays because she slays it so hard. She plays like
she has
10
Riz
different characters. She has Riz. What's Riz? Is that a new word?
Oh, it's a new word.
What is it?
I don't totally understand how
I'm trying to learn and keep on top of all these Gen Z words. You got to teach me. Drip.
Okay, it's like no, that's even going out. Riz is the new thing, and it's like oh, she's got Riz, or like oh, that's Riz. It's like the new kind of. I don't know. I have to have another Gen Z person explain it to me.
Is there a Gen Z person here that can explain this to us? Oh, you hit 25.
But I think it's more.
What? Like you hit 25, and then all of a sudden these words are popping up, and you haven't heard them. Like it's like I'm only 25. I remember when extra became a thing, and I was like, "What the fuck is extra? And why are people saying it? Why do I not know it?" And so that was the first word I was out of the loop on, and I remember Emma Books talking about it, and I was like, "What is she saying? She's so extra."
Kirsten says, I just found out instead of bae, people say stink now. Like what?
Oh my god, Paul says stink all the time. I'm like, ew, what are you saying stink? He calls his girlfriend stinky sometimes, and I'm like, why are you saying stinky? I didn't realize that was a thing that wasn't like weird that he was just doing.
I don't know. Anyways. Okay, so Ms. Marvel is Riz.
We don't know what it means though. So okay.
It's like I feel like Riz. Oh, I just found out what no cap meant.
I
yeah.
used to know what that means because I saw it in something, but I forget already. What is no cap? It's another millennial. No, not millennial. Gen Z.
No,
slang.
that's a Gen Z term. A lot of my Gen Z. That this one's going out though, but like bet, like when they ask you to do something, they're like, "Oh, bet." Like Taya and Liam, like
does that mean
they
again?
use bet, like when you ask them to do something, or like when someone asks about something, like, "Oh, do you want to go to the Taylor Swift concert?" They're like, "Oh, bet." Like they're
Like
so
you
down.
betcha.
Yes.
Is that short for you betcha?
Yes.
Oh,
no cap means I'm not lying.
Lying. Okay. And cap is like I'm being shady. Do you say
That's
cap
right.
when you're being shady as fuck? Wait, Natasha, did you watch that TikTok video of the girl being like, this is a Gen Z when they come into the salon, and this is a millennial when they come into the salon?
Yes.
Oh my god. That was so on point.
Very on point.
I felt very seen.
I sent it to Kayla. All right, sorry, we're getting off track.
We're so
All right, so we should do an episode just talking about. I do feel old, like with all these
let's
words
talk
now.
about feeling old as a millennial. That's gonna be an episode, okay? I'm gonna map that out, get us an outline. It's gonna be great.
She gets Gen Z on here too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We're gonna get a
okay.
Gen Z rep.
Yes,
I'll
get like Taya or someone. All right, so number 7 for me is Ms. Marvel. Out of all of the Disney Plus shows this year, this one was my favorite because I think it was the most well thought out and well told show. And again, she was darling. And the actress who plays Ms. Marvel, she is such a huge Marvel fan. And like the amount, like I watched a whole video of her just completely demolish a Marvel trivia question interview, and like I don't even know some of these answers, and I love Marvel. And anyways, so I love her. I love the style. There's a few episodes that were directed by a different director that weren't very good in terms of, I think, storytelling and pacing. But overall, my favorite story, because it's like a high school drama. It's like Spider-Man, but like with a Pakistani young woman. Like it was just everything, and I'm so glad we have this story.
Well, hopefully I eventually watch it because I know it's going to be great. Because I think those actors also were just doing a phenomenal job. They were so charming in that first episode, so I'm excited. My number 7 is The Summer I Turned Pretty series on Amazon Prime. What a joy it was to watch this series. It's an adaptation of Jenny Han's The Summer I Turned Pretty series. Jenny Han is heavily involved, which I love. She wrote some of the episodes, or was on the writer's team for all of the episodes. I forget now because it's been a little bit, but you can tell she's involved. She's a producer on it, and everyone is so cute on the show. The actors are beautiful. I love the love triangle. I love a brother's love triangle. I'm just realizing, like, Vampire Diaries is my favorite ship, and I'm so shipping her with the younger brother. It's ridiculous.
Me too.
So I guess I really love that trope, and it's almost time for season 2, I think. So I'm pumped. I'm excited.
I can't believe it's not even been a whole year though.
They were on top of it. They greenlit it the week that it came out, and they started filming very soon. I think they had already maybe started writing season 2.
Yeah, because I've seen all the TikToks. Like they've been on set for a while now.
Yeah. So I'm thinking early next year probably, or spring.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting.
Hopefully, yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're on number 6 now, is Gilded Age. This was on HBO Max, and it's Victorian set. It's set in the Victorian era, in the industrial era in New York City. So like it's all about society and old money versus new money, and the costuming is beautiful. The relationships, it's kind of like a Downton Abbey, but a little bit, but American, I guess. And we follow a few different families, and there's just so much drama, I guess, between like the old money and new money people, because there's just all these big tycoons coming in who are working in the like steel industry, and we follow this family who just got so newly rich, and they built this entire huge mansion in New York, and everyone's like, ew, look how grand they are, they're disgusting. And the two main characters are just, oh, they're just so good, and I love their marriage. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite television shows this year. That's also like a historical, like set in the, it's like a period show, I guess, period drama.
Nice. I think I've heard of it. Is it a book? I feel like I've seen that book, unless it's just the book with the same name. I don't know. Interesting.
I don't. Okay. Oh, Gilded Age. Gilded Age is a book, but it's not. It's not that book.
It's not the same book. All right.
But. Mm-mm.
So that's your number 6. We're almost at the halfway point here. My number 6 is Never Have I Ever, the series on Netflix. I am in love with this series. It is everything I like. It's Mindy Kaling. I love Mindy Kaling's writing. I am obsessed with everything she makes. And Never Have I Ever is about a young girl in high school, and she really wants to lose her virginity, I feel like, her freshman year, and she has this crush on this older dude, and we go from there. You know, she has a hate to love thing going with someone in her grade, and I ship them so hard. You know, if you love Mindy Kaling's shows, you're gonna love Never Have I Ever. And season 3 was so good. There was not a dull moment. Good. I raced through it. The ships were just at peak shipping. You know, like, this was happening with this person, this was happening with this person. You're like, I'm shipping everything. It was amazing. They did such a good job with it. And the actors are, again, wonderful. And I'm so excited for the final season. I'm so glad it has an end point, too, because that makes the story so much better when they know where it's going to end.
Because she's going into her senior year, right? Because that will be her senior year.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't finished the season 3 because I think I was watching it while I was sewing, and I just didn't get around to finishing it. But I loved it.
Yes.
And I want to finish it so bad.
Oh my god,
it's just so good. It's just
and so sweet.
It's just all of those like cute like YA rom-coms that you love, but in a show version with great acting and great writing. And
as Mindy would say, it's like a very horny show for teenagers. Like, it has a lot of romance stuff going on, and it's so much fun to watch. And it's very funny and very heartwarming, because there's also a lot of family themes running through it, which I love when there's that perfect mix of the YA rom-com and the family stuff happening. So it's beautiful. I'm so excited for the next season. I think they already started filming it, so should be out next
year. Yay. Okay, so number 5, we're halfway through.
Yep. Yeah. Oh my god.
My number 5. My number 5 is Severance. Oh gosh, this was so good. Christine told me to watch this, and Alex and I watched it together, and we just could not stop. Because it's just, I just want to get to the bottom of it, and you know, like we're it's gonna just keep unfolding. I just hope that it continues to be clever as we go along, because I feel like it's like the next type of like Westworld, and I just want it to be good.
It's lost in an office building, and it is so fucking good. If you don't know, the concept behind Severance is also just captivating. So they invented this chip that can separate your work brain and your at home brain. So when you're at work, when you're at home, you don't have to think about work, and when you're your home life doesn't affect your working. And the issue that you don't think about, though, is that your work self just exists at work. So it's like a newborn baby version of you that doesn't know anything about themselves. So once you go to work, you become this other person because the chip activates. And then once you go home, you have no memory of what you did at work. You have no idea of the people you know at work. And it's mind-boggling. And people, get this chip for various reasons. Everyone has their reason for wanting to turn off who they are for a portion of the day. And it's really captivating and thought-provoking, and it unravels in such a great, perfect way. It is a perfect first season, and Ben Stiller is the director and one of the main producers on the show, and I was just so proud of him. Watching it, I was like, look at Ben Stiller go with this fucking amazing TV show. Ben from Parks and Rec, and Adam Scott plays the lead, and that really famous actor who plays the old guy, what's his name, Natasha?
I
know the guy from like The Sopranos. He's not from The Sopranos. He plays like all the Italian mafia guys. He's old. He's like a meme. Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken is in the show. He's fantastic. Everyone in it is so good, and every episode gets better. So it's a slow burn in the beginning. You gotta give it a second. By episode 3, you're like, holy fucking shit. I
just think, like, by even episode 1, like, you start, like...
you're captivated.
What is going on?
But it's definitely, like, the pacing for someone who doesn't have patience. I could see them being like, what is this? I have to think too much. Just give it a second. That's the beauty of it. The final episode... And
Patricia Arquette is in it as well.
Yes. The final episode... so excellent. I was like the entire hour and it ends and you're like, oh my god, like, you need the next season. You need it right now. I cannot wait for it. And so Severance is fucking excellent. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's a must watch. If you like Lost, if you like Westworld, if you like that show that makes you think, that keeps you on the edge of your seat with these amazing reveals and this very, very clever writing, this is for you. Okay. Is it my turn?
I love how you just took that over.
Took what over?
It's your turn. You just took over Severance.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just didn't want to miss my chance to talk about it.
She has it way up on her list.
It's very high up on my list.
It's on Apple. Nicole says you convinced her to watch the show. It's on Apple
good.
TV, by the way.
Yes, it's on Apple TV Plus. It's so good. All right. So my number 5 is on HBO Max, and that is Sex Lives of College Girls. It is Mindy Kaling's other amazing show that's happening right now. Season 2 just ended. I watched it right after this, and I was just sitting on the couch crying. I was texting my neighbor play-by-play of my reactions, because we text each other when we watch it. It's so good. It's so funny. The season 2, I don't think was as good as season 1, just because, FYI, season 1's a perfect season. I rewatched it before season 2, and I was just in love. I flew through it. It gives me all the happy feels. It has all your favorite romance tropes, and it's very, very funny. Just, the writing is spectacular. Season 2, they're not doing hour-long episodes. They're doing half-an-hour-long episodes, and I feel like the faster pacing has kind of hurt the show a little bit, because we just can't sit in the comedy for as long. We skip past a lot, and things happen really fast. And it's still there are really good episodes, but there were a couple episodes this season that I was like, that wasn't as good as our usual episode. But great finale. I'm excited for next season. I love the cast of that too.
I couldn't get over, it felt different this season, and I forgot that it was the shorter episodes. And because I feel like some of the conversation is so quick, and for some reason it just wasn't
it wasn't hitting because it needs to breathe. Yeah. It's edited very quickly to fit into a half an hour chunk, and I'm wondering if that was HBO being like only half an hour, but it's a streamer, so I'm kind of confused about that. They should do 44 minutes because it felt so much nicer that way.
HBO's been really weird. They have the whole like Discovery and HBO thing come together. They're literally taking off Westworld. They're taking Westworld off of HBO Max. Like, you're not gonna be able to stream it. I don't even know why.
Wait,
they're making a lot of weird decisions right now. Yeah. There's rumor going around that they're trying to like have another app where they're going to stream the episodes all the time. So it's just going to be like another cable channel, and then all of their shows were just going to be playing. And so that's what they're doing. That's a rumor.
Maybe they're just testing that, because I know Netflix tested something like that where they had something where you could click like a Netflix channel and just watch what was on, and they were testing that in different countries, and it never really came to fruition. Like we don't have the option to click like the Netflix channel when we're on Netflix, so maybe that won't actually happen. I don't know, or maybe they're gonna be the first to actually do it. We'll see. But okay. Take us to your number 4. Oh, I didn't see that this was on your list.
Yeah, number 4 is The Summer I Turned Pretty. We already spoke about it. I read the book and I liked it. Now, watch the show. The show is way better than the book. It's so good. And it's just so much better. I really like the show because personally, the whole like moms with their kids, you know, going on vacation, and like one of the moms is we find out later, I don't really want to spoil it, it's just a lot of like personal connection for me, which is why I really enjoyed it. And it's just such like a time capsule show. It gives you all of those amazing feelings. Like they literally captured what it feels like to be a teenager in the summertime. And it is so magical because of that.
Yeah.
My voice is getting dry. Hold on.
It really brings that family on vacation for the summer energy really well. It brings that really well. It depicts it very well.
Yes. It's just the best. Okay. Number 4 for you, Christine.
4. Oh! Wait, we're at 4. Okay, wow, we're getting there. We're getting up there. Okay. The 4 for me is The White Lotus Season 2, which, in my opinion, a perfect season of television. I loved the finale so much. Did you watch it? You did, right?
Yes, I did. Oh my God.
Of course, it was excellent. What an excellent hour and 20 minutes really of good. TV. I just was so happy with how it all wrapped up. If you haven't watched The White Lotus, we've talked about it a lot on the show now. I talk about it every week. I'm like, season 2 of The White Lotus, man. Oh man. It's excellent. So you can watch season 1 before. Yeah, I would watch season 1 just for context, but just know that season 2 is better. You're gonna watch season 1, you're gonna be like, this is kind of slow, this is kind of funky, it makes me uncomfortable sometimes. I would watch it just to get the background of Jennifer Coolidge's character, because honestly, she's phenomenal, and she has a lot of moments in season 1 that made me keep watching the show, because she's so compelling and so fucking weird in the most hilarious way. And she's a huge character in season 2, so I feel like it's definitely worth it to watch season 1. And it's not very long, so it's not like you're committing to a lot of episodes. And then season 2, Chef's Kiss. So that is my number 4. Number 3, Natasha.
We're in the top 3. Drum roll. All right.
Wow, we have such high quality sound effects on this podcast.
None of these we have in common.
Oh, our top 3?
Yes. All right. So number 3, this was really hard for me to do these placements, and I'm still trying to figure out if I should switch 1 and 2. Number 3 is House of the Dragon on HBO. I can't believe you haven't finished this show. It was so good.
Maybe I'll binge it.
Here's the thing.
Over the break.
I have a really weird relationship with Game of Thrones because I truly didn't watch, like, I watched the first season kind of, and then I couldn't take it because it was just too brutal. Like, too many things it was way too hard for me to kind of come to terms with that, because it was all airing during like my father passing away and all of that stuff. So I couldn't really deal with it. But I love the last seasons of Game of Thrones, aside from whatever they did in the last one. But so coming now into House of the Dragon, I was very excited because I I wanted to be a part of the show because I wasn't a part of the beginning of Game of Thrones, and I truly love it more than Game of Thrones because it's very political. We're sitting with royalty. It still has that like insane those insane things that make Game of Thrones so good, which is,
I mean, Game of Thrones is also very political and very royalty.
true, but I mean, like, we're literally like sitting with our Targaryens in what's the capital called? Why am I blanking on it?
In Westeros? Westeros.
In Westeros. And then there's also not too many storylines where we're jumping around. Like, we're really just sitting with the family, and you're truly rooting for... Yeah, you're truly, like, rooting for Rhaenyra, and it's the end of the series. The season was... King's Landing, thank you. The end of the season was just... I don't even know how to... I'm not going to put it into words because I'm probably going to just spoil it.
Don't tell me.
But
I'm going to watch it.
I won't.
I inevitably
and
will
Matt
watch
Smith. He's so good.
I love him. I want to watch it. It's literally like I've been such an anxiety tornado for the last 9 months. I haven't been able to like want to watch dramas like I usually do. So I'm hoping like now in the holidays I could take a chill pill. Literally, maybe.
I feel like that's why I didn't watch like Game of Thrones, because it was it's too much. You really have to be in a good place mentally to take on those types of shows.
Yeah, and I haven't been there. I haven't had the emotional bank in a while. And I love Game of Thrones. Like, I watched it every episode live. I'm obsessed with it. And I rewatched it before the final season and just appreciated it even more because the writing is so phenomenal. And there's so much depth to so many different storylines. So I'm excited to watch House of the Dragon and feel those feels for new characters. My number 3, I debated putting it as number 2. I debated putting it as number 1. Like, I could not decide. I fucking love Hacks on HBO Max. It is so excellent. The writing is so perfect. Season 1 and Season 2 are perfection. I'm just obsessed with it. I connect so much with both the lead characters on so many different levels. It's so funny. I don't know if you know the premise, but there is this comedian in her late 60s, maybe early 70s, that she's a very well-known female comedian. She's had a show on the Vegas Strip for 30 years or something. It's one of the longest running shows of all time, and she hasn't updated any of her material. And it's dry, and not enough people are coming to the shows, and they're trying to cancel her show. And her manager is like, maybe you need a writer. And she's like, I don't need a fucking writer. And then there's this 25-year-old writer in Hollywood, and she's working for a TV show, but she tweeted something that upset some people, and she got fired. And no one wants to hire her. And she has the same manager as this comedian. And her manager's like, hey, so I have a job for you. It's out in Vegas. You have to go interview. And she's like, okay, I guess I'll take it because no one else is hiring me. And meanwhile, the comedian is like, I don't need a fucking writer. And the writer shows up at her house and she's like, what the hell are you doing here? And they end up connecting because this writer's really good. She's really funny. And her style meshes with this older comedians, and they form this bond that is so fucking beautiful, and they make each other better, and I love it so much, and I'm so excited for season 3. It's amazing. Did you watch it?
I need to sit... You made me watch the first episode, and I didn't pick it up from there. I think it was like last Christmas.
Yeah, I watched the season and then I just watched it again. That's how much I love it. That's honestly how I watched Sex Lives of College Girls this season. I would watch the episodes and then watch it again because, like you said, it moves too fast. And the second time I would catch all the comedy more because you miss some of the lines because it's not breathing. And it's so well written. And I mean, Hacks is better, though. Hacks is like Emmy. They won Emmys because it's Emmy Award writing. It's excellent.
Yes.
It's so clever.
Well, their little bit at, I think it was the Emmys, was fantastic this
They have
year. I don't know if
such
you
great
remember it.
chemistry together. They're so
Yes.
funny. And I'm so proud of them. It's one of those shows that just makes you feel so proud of the accomplishments that these women are tackling, you know? Ugh, I love them. All right.
All right.
Take us
Number
up to
two for me. Literally, I was just debating if I should switch these. I'm not going to. Okay. Number 2 is Bridgerton season 2. Bridgerton took over my life earlier this year. Like, I became Bridgerton. I was the Bridgerton. Literally,
You did.
everything about me was Bridgerton. It has been my life since it came on the scene. It is one of my favorite shows of all time because it has everything that I love in it. It has historical drama. It is set in Regency romance. I'm like you. I rarely rewatch shows, or like, this is a show that I rewatched multiple times now this year. I think I'm on my 5th rewatch, and it is insane to me that I have watched this show so much, and I still I watched it recently with Heather this week, and we went to the part where he's like, "You can never get as far away from me as possible," and I was like, this is such a good part, I can't stand this. Like,
That was me watching Titanic.
yeah, I was so vocal watching it.
I would
Anyways,
just, like, erupt with what they're gonna say too. Like, I don't usually do that because I get annoyed.
me too. I forgot this other part of the show. Hold on, let me just go through this first. There's another part of the show where Anthony he goes like, "And I can't get over the smell of lilies." It's been just rolling in my head of him going, "Lilies."
I don't
Anyways.
remember that. No memory. I have to rewatch that.
You have to rewatch it. Anyways, season 2 is better than season 1 because the chemistry and the acting is way better than just the prettiness of the Duke of Hastings. Anthony, who his name, I can't think of his name. He is absolutely insane. He is so good. And the actress who plays all the names, I'm blanking on them.
I'm blanking too.
Anyways.
Okay.
Someone tell me. The actress, she's like a literal Disney princess. Like the way her eyes emote, I can't with her. It's a perfect season. Even though there was only one sex scene, I'm perfectly fine with that because their chemistry was out of this world.
I
Give me the sexy
agree.
times. I love them.
I completely agree. They had amazing chemistry, and even if someone else was saying the lines, you might be like, that was hysterically cheesy, but they deliver everything so beautifully. They have such palpable chemistry. It's a joy to watch. And the soundtrack from the season made me so emotional. Like, the pop songs in the classical violin get me. They just hit me. When Dancing on Your Own starts playing with the quartet, I think I cried. And then when Wrecking Ball came on with the string quartet, I started crying. They were very good, excellent things happening on screen too. It wasn't just a song.
Yes. And I do enjoy the Featheringtons. I just wish we had more of Anthony and Kate. I googled the late girl's name.
All right. Wow.
Were you gonna say something?
I was just, you're still frozen on my screen, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out close all your apps. I'll close all mine. Actually, I think
all mine are closed.
Yeah, so are mine. Why is this happening? All right, whatever. cut this out at 126. All right. Where are we? Okay. My number 2 is Stranger Things season 4. We've already talked about my number 2 and my number 1. They were all the way down at the bottom of your list.
Sorry.
But that's why I jumped in, because I knew we weren't going to want to talk about it twice. Stranger Things season 4, like I said, was a perfect, very cohesive, beautiful season, and I loved it. And I'm so excited for the final season. I loved every aspect of this. My neighbor was talking about how like they didn't like all the bits that had Hopper in them and Winona Ryder, but I loved them. I loved everything. Oh, you came back! Yay! Okay. Yeah, I loved everything about it. I loved Running Up This Hill. I think Running Up This Hill was one of my most listened to songs of the year.
Yes. Mine too.
Dun, 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 dun. It pops into my head all the time.
It's a great song, and like I will never turn it off. Like if it plays on the radio.
It's never going to be a skip. All right, number 1.
Okay, yay!
Natasha.
My number 1,
yes,
is Rings of Power on Amazon this year. Oh gosh, this was another era of mine, I feel, because I was so excited for the show. I've been excited for the show since they announced it. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I got the swords hanging up over here. It's been a part of my family forever, and so the fact that Alex and I got to enjoy it together was just everything. There is a lot of hate for this show, and it makes me so sad because there's so many people who are hating on it because it's not what they wanted it to be. And it's what Rings of Power is. It takes place around like 2,000 years before the Lord of the Rings books. And what Amazon has the rights to, they only have the rights to The Hobbit and then the trilogy. They don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. So a lot of like deeply invested fans of J.R.R. Tolkien's works are very upset with some of the what is it called, the rules and the lore,
the canon.
The canon, because Amazon does not have the rights to the Silmarillion. The Silmarillion, if you don't know what that is,
no idea.
That is J.R.R. Tolkien's kind of like an index. It's not really.
I've heard about this. Everything about the world.
Everything about the world. So it's not really a story. It's like smaller stories within the world.
His encyclopedia almost.
Yes, it's kind of like an encyclopedia, and it explains why this happened and this happened. And anyway, so Rings of Power, we see the beginning of Sauron, and Sauron is, the big bad in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And we watch as the elves come into Middle Earth. And why do they come into Middle Earth? Because like the first big bad of Lord of the Rings is Morgoth, and Morgoth is the one who enticed Sauron to become bad, because the whole like magic system is or I guess he was like a fallen angel, so you kind of think of Sauron as like Satan in a way. So, and then we also have Galadriel, we have a lot of the elves that we see in Lord of the Rings, and anyways, so that's the backstory of Lord of the Rings. I love this show. It's immaculate. It's beautiful. There's so much money involved in this series that like everything that you would want to see in a elf fantasy land is there. And it just, I was smiling so big watching it. And then we get to see Galadriel, who literally just has to stand there and look pretty in Lord of the Rings. We get to see her fucking kick ass. Like she is a crowned warrior, and this is not what we don't really know much about Galadriel. There's not much of her in the Silmarillion, but it doesn't really matter because they don't have the rights. But there's some things that were changed that people don't love, and people just don't love the storytelling in Lord of the Rings. And I just have to defend it because it was my favorite television show this year. Not only that, it was it sung to like my fangirl heart because it was another one of those like Dark Lord and light come together, kind of like a Kylo and Rey situation. And that is everything I love, and it makes me so happy. So I think if you are a huge fan of like Reylo, if you love like if you're like a book girly like us, you're gonna love Lord of the Rings. I mean, Rings of Power. And you don't really need to know that much about the world because it's set 2,000 years before any of that happens. And everyone's really hot, and there's a lot of good fight training and good effects, and it's exciting. You have to watch it, please.
Man, it's exciting.
Did I convince anyone?
The fangirl came out.
Truly. Alex was
remember me?
I told Alex, I'm like, Alex, guess what we're number one? He's like, Rings of Power. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And he goes, okay, well, just make sure you defend it because everyone hates it. I'm like, I don't understand why. It's a TV show. It's great. We get to watch like a world that we love so much, and they did it so well. Just watch it.
Just shut up and watch it.
Go on.
No. Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Oh, I just really want to remake Galadriel's armor. It's beautiful.
Say what you need to say. Is that John Mayer? Okay. Anyway. My number one of the year is drums. Is Severance. We already talked about it, and I am so in love with this show. And like you were saying about that singing to your fangirl heart, this sings to my Ravenclaw ass in so many ways. Like, I love a show that makes me think, that surprises me, that inspires me. It's so fucking good. I already talked about it, so I'm not gonna spend much time. But just wow. John was just watching it and he's like, have you watched Severance? I'm like, I'm the one who told you to watch Severance 9 months ago.
She will die on this hill. Will make everyone watch it.
He was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And he's like saying all these intricate things about it. I'm like, I don't remember that right now, but I know it was great. I had to rewatch Severance before the second season, so I remember all the intricacies, because it's like Lost in that it's so much better when you watch it all together, because it is so meticulous in the storytelling that it has these beautiful foreshadowing moments that make you and I love that. I love when they have so many beautiful plants that come together in the end and make your mind explode in the best way. So watch Severance, watch Rings of Power, watch all the things. And that concludes our top 10 list of 2022 TV shows. Yay! We're going, if you guys have watched any of those, or if you watch any of them now, let us know what your favorites, if any of your favorites were in there. Hit us up with yours so that we can add them to our list if we haven't watched your top 10 yet. I don't know if what I just said made sense. It kind of felt like a bumbling ramble. But you get what I was saying. We really quickly thought we'd talk about just some seasons of stuff that we love that came back this year and kind of disappointed us, but we have hope maybe that they'll get better again in the next season. Uh, Natasha, you want to hit us with yours?
Well, this is not going to get better because it was canceled, but Westworld season 4.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Westworld. It's just all around has been disappointing basically since season 1.
Yeah, I don't know if...
But season 1 is great.
Yeah, if you haven't been around for a while, season 1's one of my favorite things of all time ever. It's perfect.
Yes.
It's still... I talked about some of the things I love today. It's still, like, my number one. It is a separate season. It's amazing. Watch season 1 of Westworld and just think of it as a mini-series because it does have a perfect end. It's almost like they kept going because it was so successful, but it was so good that it was impossible to ever live up to that. And they tried so hard to out Westworld themselves, and you can't. It had the perfect balance of mystery and heart, and the heart left after that. There was no one to root for because everyone was very unlikable after that or wasn't human. So it was sad. Watch season 1. I forget what we were talking about. And season 4.
They tried to recapture that magic in season 4 and it just did not work. It flat. No.
Yeah, I stopped in season 3 because it was hurting me because I'm so obsessed with season 1 and I just keep hoping for that magic and they just can't capture it again. It's a once in a lifetime thing to make such an amazing show. I've never watched something that's made me feel like that as a whole. I can't get over it. It's perfect.
All right, what's one of yours?
All right, one of mine, I mentioned Survivor 43. I told you guys already why they need to bring back the themes. It's getting old just having, like, the number as a theme. Starstruck Season 2, I never finished it because New Moon Trope was happening where they break up the couple and they literally just got together after Season 1. Season 1, so much fun, wonderful, so funny, amazing writing, highly recommend it. But Starstruck Season 2 kind of let me down. And maybe I should finish it because I only got like 4 episodes in, but I was getting annoyed. What about you?
I've never even heard of it.
Oh my God, watch. You'll love it. The first season.
What is it?
It is with, did you watch 4 Weddings and a Funeral, the Mindy Kaling series? Okay, you know the love interest Flash? Is his name not Flash? But he plays the lead and he's a movie star. And there's this really hilarious, like, 28-year-old young woman who's, like, doesn't have her shit together. And she's out in a club, and she meets him, but, like, doesn't recognize him from movies because she hasn't seen them. And she sleeps with him and wakes up the next morning, and he's, like, making breakfast, and she's looking around the house, and there's, like, movie posters. And she's like, what the fuck? And she's like, oh, my God, he's famous. And she then kind of ends up dating him and they're like this bumbling relationship where they're like, are we in a relationship? And it is adorable and it's so funny because she's one of those people that just like says shit and doesn't have a filter and it's so good. You'd love it.
All right, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people are gonna be really mad at me for saying this, but Sandman on Netflix was not my favorite thing. It was a lot of people's favorite thing. There was a few episodes that were pretty good. I don't know the source material. I don't know much about this character. There was some of it that I enjoyed, but I wanted it to be better than I had imagined. And I also like. A lot of people thought the main dude's Tom Storage, like one of Rob's old friends, is really hot, and I just don't. And so it wasn't very fun for me to watch.
I didn't think I was going to like it, so I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I don't think you'll like it.
A show that I started trying to watch, and I couldn't get into after 4 episodes, that was kind of, I don't know, storylines were feeling forced to me, and maybe it would have gotten better, and maybe I have to give it another chance, is Reboot. Rachel from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend plays one of the leads. She plays a writer, and it's about, she wants to reboot this show from, like, the 90s. Yeah, but with a like, different twist to it, like a more modern twist. And you find out at the end of the first episode that her dad wrote the original series. And it's kind of like a fuck you to him, the way that she's rebooting it, because he was kind of a dick dad. And and then they end up getting him on the writing team. So they have to work together. And I love that aspect of it, but there's a lot, it's an ensemble, and I wasn't loving all the other storylines happening in it. It's made by the creator of Modern Family, Steve Levitan, I think, and I loved Modern Family. I just started rewatching it because I needed something wholesome during these stressful times. Modern Family is so fucking good. I forgot how funny it was. Like, I'm just hysterically laughing. I just watched the funniest episode of the first season. I was just cackling the whole time. And yeah, that show always made me laugh, and then it would be so heartwarming that I would cry because it has these amazing family moments. So if you haven't watched Modern Family, great binge. But I probably will give Reboot another try because I love everyone in it. But wasn't impressed by episode 4.
One I put on here is First Kill, which we talked about in one of our fangirl tea times, but I was so excited for this show, and I did really enjoy the first episode. I'm really sad, like, it was canceled, unfortunately, and this is V.E. Schwab. She wrote the first episode, right?
Yes.
Or she was a showrunner.
She was, I think, a showrunner, but she only wrote the first episode, I think.
Yeah, it just, I don't think the show had enough budget. There weren't a lot of, like, establishing shots. Ooh, sorry. You go on the next one.
All right. And then I'm going to quickly run through these last two. I have Umbrella Academy Season 3. I never finished it. It wasn't like, it felt, I didn't like the cinematography this season, and I just wasn't being pulled into the story. I feel like it was lacking in the lightheartedness of the family dynamic that usually pulls me in immediately. It felt darker and sadder, and I just wasn't taken in enough. I want to finish it because I got to, I think, halfway through, or episode 4 or something. I love the first 2 seasons of Umbrella Academy, so I was really sad about that. And then my last one, I think Dickinson Season 3 was this year. I can't remember if that was this year or last year. But Dickinson Seasons 1 and 2 are some of my favorite seasons of TV as well. I want to rewatch that because it inspires me so much. It's one of those shows that makes me want to make things, and I love that. Like, when you get off a show and you're like, I want to write, I want to do this. Like, that was so amazing. And that was season 1 and 2. And season 3 got really forced feeling and silly. Like, it's usually a very grounded show, but like there was an episode in season 3, and there's like a hint of mysticalness to it, but it's grounded, you know. But in season 3, they did things like time travel randomly, and I was just like, what? Like, this takes place in the 1800s during the Civil War, and it was just it took you out of it. And they had Billy Eichner in a scene playing like a very over-the-top character that didn't feel grounded. You know, it was just kept taking me out of it, and I was sad because it's the final season, and I never finished it because it's making me upset. Yeah, and those are all the ones. That's all on my list. Is there anything else on your list?
I just have Time Traveler's Wife. I did enjoy this. It was a little corny, honestly, but I really enjoyed Theo James.
Theo James' ass,
and
as
his
we've
butt
talked about.
And his ass.
I watched the first episode, and I wasn't like sold on the way they were telling the story. I felt the corn a little bit, so I didn't keep going. But I love that book. I really wanted it to be amazing. So that was disappointing on my end too. All right, well, leaving on that disappointing note for our TV list, let's run right into this week's F, Marry, Kill.
Okay, this is my turn again.
Lead us through.
All right, since we are upon the holidays are upon us, I have frosted sugar cookies, gingerbread, and cinnamon rolls.
Wow! A food edition. Well, I'm definitely murdering gingerbread because that shit does not taste good. No matter how.
Okay. You need to try the gingerbread cookies at Disneyland. They are the most delicious things in the world.
To me, they always taste burned and not good.
No, these are good.
I just can't get on board. And then frosted cinnamon sugar cookies. I guess I would.
No, frosted sugar cookies.
Oh,
frosted sugar cookies.
I just added cinnamon. Mmm. Noodle soup.
What? Noodle soup?
Friends reference for y'all out there.
Oh.
Okay, so I will F the frosted. Nicole got the reference. There's this scene where Joey's doing an audition, and they're like, the lines, soup. And he's like, okay. And he's like, noodle soup.
Oh.
And they're like, it's soup. And he's like, that's what I said. Noodle soup. And they're like, you're still saying noodle soup. All right. So anyway, I would F the frosted cookies. Because I can handle one cookie. But I can only handle one before I get a tummy ache because I'm sensitive. And then I would marry cinnamon rolls because that shit is so delicious. Like, I haven't had one in years. I don't know. I think the last time I had one was one of those, like, when you slice them and put them on the thing and put them in your oven.
Those are shit. They're still
good.
Shit.
They're so good.
Okay,
I remember
do you like
cinnamon?
cinnamon?
You made it once when I was at your house the first time. It was so good.
I made cinnamon roll cake.
That's love Cinnabon. At the mall, I used to go home with a Cinnabon when I was little, and it was like the best thing I've ever eaten.
Yes. Do you like cream cheese frosting on it or regular frosting?
I don't know.
Cinnabon has cream cheese frosting
on it. Okay, whatever's usually on it. I'm all about like the perfect mix of the cinnamon. I love the center, like the heart of it is my favorite. It's like an artichoke. Like the outside's okay, but the inside.
I actually like I like the layer,
the hard part
inside the outside. I don't like the outside. I like the layer
the
inside.
Second layer. The second layer is delicious too. But the closer I get to the core, the more I'm like, I have to savor this. It's the best. And on the outside, I'm like, I just need to get to the inside. Out of my way. Yeah, so I'd marry them. I love them. I would only be able to eat one before I got full, but like I still want to be married to them.
I need to make you some cinnamon rolls. Okay, so I'm going to kill sugar cookies because I do love decorating them, but they're like
they're not that good.
Like,
yeah.
And I would fuck some gingerbread cookies up if they're from Disneyland. They're the only good ones. Okay. And then I would marry cinnamon rolls.
All right.
With cream cheese frosting.
Oh my God. Remember the mini Cinnabons? Oh, I used to get those at the mall in high school and like eat them as you're walking around. There's
a cinnamon bun. Yeah. There's a Cinnabon that DoorDashes to Heather's house. And every time I've been there, we've been DoorDashing them. And it's become a problem.
It reminds me of the 90s. Like I haven't seen one in a long time. I haven't been to one.
They're only in the mall.
Yeah. Ugh. They were the best part of the mall.
Stupid.
You know what was also great at the mall, though? A Wetzel pretzel, cinnamon sugar one. Yes. I don't think I could handle that nowadays. I'd die.
Auntie Anne's. I love Auntie Anne's.
Oh, Auntie Anne's is so good, too. Just like a regular regular salt pretzel from there. Oh, yeah.
No, the best pretzel is the cream cheese filled pretzel
start a
at
podcast
Disneyland.
Disneyland food is not that good.
Yes, it is. Ma'am,
you
haven't been there as much as I. No, you haven't been there as much as I have, and I will give you all the best food. No, there's the cream cheese filled, like cinnamon sugar pretzel, at Disneyland, and
So
it's
it's basically a
absolutely
cinnamon
insane.
bun, except not as good.
Yes, but it is really good.
Kristen would fuck the cinnamon rolls. I feel like everyone should marry these cinnamon rolls. They're so good. How can you deny them marriage? Well, this is the most time we've ever spent on a fuck, marry, kill.
Food. Who would have thunk?
It's like in
All right.
Friends when they're like, Joey, would you choose sex or food? It's like food, sex, food, sex, food. I would choose food. All right, it's time for chapter chat. So if you don't know, we've been rereading Akajack 2 to 1 chapters at a time. We got some feedback from a really nice viewer this week that was like, my only feedback is maybe you want to do 2 chapters a week and not 1 because that's just not that much. And we were thinking that before, but then we hit a really long chapter, and also the problem is our podcast is already long. So it works for us time-wise.
It's long right now.
1. We are going like half an hour long right now. So I think we might stick to 1 until we have timing better, right? Natasha,
Yeah.
Thoughts.
Or we just make a separate episode where we talk about it, so it's not like attached to this one.
This is the thing. Yeah, I feel like maybe as we gain more of a foundation and we can prioritize the podcast more, we can start doing more podcast episodes going up during the week. Right now, I feel like we're still kind of building a foundation. We're building up our regular show, but once the main show is running and we feel like we have a nice sized audience and we're doing, things that are bringing in money for the podcast, we can make the podcast more of our job, and we can do this more often and do separate episodes where we're reading along throughout the week, a book, a few chapters per week. And then talk about it for like half an hour instead of like the last 10 minutes of the pod, You think that too? Yeah.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah. Like we'll be able to do more.
Right now, 1 chapter.
Shows. Right now, 1 chapter, but hopefully we'll expand with time. Our goal next year is to grow this podcast into like our priority, because it is my favorite thing. Like it wasn't until we didn't do it this week that I was like, I am so sad. I realized how much I love doing it. This is just so much fun, and I love it. So, Chapter 9 this week. Let's do it!
Christine, I have a confession.
Did you not read
I
it?
totally forgot to read this chapter.
I'll walk you through the synopsis, because it's one of those next chapter chapters, so you got lucky. It's a lucky week for you here.
I feel Christine was like on a deadline, and I was like, oh, I'll just listen to it tomorrow morning. And there was an explosion in my sink. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I listened to it right before the podcast episode because the deadline. So it's fresh in my mind, and it was just 20 minutes on the audiobook, so it was very quick. Don't worry. You didn't miss much. You can get back on the horse next week for chapter 10.
Hopefully something happens.
Hopefully something I mean, stuff happens, but it's nothing big. So we're outside, she's exploring the grounds. Tamlin comes out and he's like, oh, would you like a tour? I'm off this morning. And she's like, no thanks. And he's like, are you sure? I don't have work, so I can show you around. You should come with me. And she's like, nah, sorry, bye. She continues on this track where she thinks she's gonna convince Lucien to convince Tamlin to loophole her out of her debt to them to stay in Prythian for the rest of time, which we all know is a dumb plan and never happens. And she's walking around and she's like, that would make a great hiding spot. That would make a great hiding spot. Let's catalog these hiding spots. Does she ever use them? I don't know. And then she runs into Lucien and he's like, oh, I'm going for a hunt today. Do you want to come? She's like, oh, perfect. I'm going to use this time to convince him to talk to Tamlin for me. And they're on this hunt and they're not shooting anything. And Lucien's like, so when are you going to try to convince me to ask Tamlin to get you out of this whole ordeal and let you go? And she's like, oh, how does he know that that's what I was going to do?
Huh.
And he's very snarky about the whole ordeal. He's like, there's no way you're getting out of this. I don't know why you ever thought that would work. And we all knew this already. He was already such an asshole. I was like, why did you ever think that would work? And he tells her about what happened with the masks. Like, he kind of references it and she's like, oh, I wasn't even thinking that I was making him reference that, but like, let me try to get him to talk about it more. So I learned more about this. And it was a ceremony in honor of Tamlin. They all wore the masks because he's a shapeshifter. And she's like, what happened? And he's like, hell was unleashed on us. And the less you know about it, the better. Like, you don't want to know about her. They references Aramantha for the first time, but doesn't say her name. And we learn that Tamlin can shift people into different animals. Like, he has that ability. So she's like, I forgot about that. Yeah, I didn't remember that either. So the reason the guy was a wolf is because Tamlin turned him into a wolf so he wouldn't be seen as a fairy over there. People wouldn't know. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck was he expecting to do as a wolf there? I just don't really understand. If he can't morph back into his other form, that feels like a really bad body to be stuck in, especially in a place that doesn't have any food and people are hunting in the forest. They really didn't think that through. And I thought that we learned later on that he was there to bring back a girl to help break the curse. Like, but how was he ever going to do that in wolf form? Was he just going to grab her in his fucking jaws and drag her back? Like, I don't understand. Was he going to ever get on his back? Ride him like Jacob and Bella? I'm just... And Renesmee, I guess Renesmee rides up Jacob's back as a wolf. I don't know. So that kind of confused me. And I don't know. I can't remember the specifics. But we also learn about, like, Lucien mentions that he's not a fairy that does this and not a fairy that does that. And one of the things he says, he's like, I'm not a fairy that you capture and I answer questions for you. And that's what happens later on the book. She captures a Suriel, which is a fairy that will answer 3 questions. They have to answer them honestly. And I said that they grant them 3 wishes in another podcast. I was talking about this. I was like, she gets 3 wishes. No, she gets 3 questions answered.
It's not the genie.
It's not a genie. I got that wrong. And it ends with them in the forest on a cliffhanger. He's like, don't move. Do not react, because there's a scary monster in the forest animal. I feel like it's like that invisible boggart thing. I don't remember the specifics, but I kind of have a vague memory of it being like something that shows you fears or something. Or feeds on your fear.
Yes.
He's like, don't react.
The feeds on the fear rings a bell.
Yeah. And that's how the chapter ends. And I don't like Lucien. I'm bored by Feyre. I hate Tamlin. So I'm just like, let's keep it moving. Let's get to Akamath. I want to get to Akamath. Do you have any thoughts on this before I wrap us up today?
No. But thank you for the recap. I do have thoughts. I'm wondering, why are we still in a chapter with her like thinking about hiding spots? Like I feel like she's been doing that.
I know. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Farrah. Move on.
Like, this is repetitive. Let's move on from this.
I know she's building the world, you know, but I feel like we just don't use this world much. That's why, I mean, we do, I guess. But in the long run, the grand scheme of things, we don't, you know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This first book kind of feels very separate to me from all the other books. It's the ground. It's like the small version of the world. And then we zoom out and there's so much more to it that we don't get in this first book. So,
yes.
It's interesting. Yes. Now.
All right.
Well, before we end the show, I want to give a little tease of our Fangirl Tea Time this week. We're going to be talking about dealing with going to see maybe family members that you don't see much and discussions at the table that might get uncomfortable and how to deal with them when that happens. We're going to be talking about gift exchanges at family parties. We're going to be talking about what we're up to right now, like we always do. Last minute shopping.
Let's do a nice little check-in.
Yeah, gift ideas that we're pondering right now that for last minute gifts we haven't found yet and all that stuff. So it's going to be fun. I love holiday themed discussions. They're always so fun.
Yes. And I just want to say that this podcast is edited by Jake Needlem and Alex Polis, and music is by Cole Jenkins and vocals by Heather Traska. So thank you all so much for being here with us.
Yes.
We are going to go record Fangirl Tea Time.
But before we do, make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast app for free. We are on Instagram at Those Forking Fangirls. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/@those4kingfangirls. Subscribe over there. We appreciate you doing everything you do to support this show. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next Friday. I'm Christine.
I'm Natasha.
And this is Those Forking Fangirls. Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh my god. Wrong music. Stop the music. What is happening? Help!